Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create the face slice effect in Photoshop, and we are starting right now. We're going to start by creating a canvas. In this case, we are going to be using 1920 by 1080 pixels, and once we've done that, I will just go ahead and hit create. We're going to have a canvas just like this. First thing we need to do is to go ahead and create our gradient background. In this case, you can just sit on gradient layer and come back to the gradient color, and here you can come back to the basics and select this very first one right here, hit on OK. To have that, you want to come back to the gradient style and make it to be radial, and come back to the reverse, change to inverse the color just like this, and you want to scale it up so that we remove most of the black edges. You want to have something like this, and once you've done that, you want to go ahead hit on OK. And the second step is going to be for us to import our main subject. In this case, it's going to be this model right here. I'll just go ahead and hit on the good sign, Ctrl+0 to have the full screen. And the first thing I would like to do is to come back to the quick selection tool and select the model. Wait for seconds for Photoshop to do their work, and once it's been selected like this, I want to come back to the layer mask and mask it out just like this. And once I have it like this, I want to go ahead and make it a smart object. Right click and come back to where it says smart object. You want to come back to smart object, and now I want to separate the head from the body, and by doing that, I want to select my pen tool by hitting on P. You can use any of the tool you feel comfortable with. You don't have to use the pen tool, you can use the lasso tool. You're still going to get the same result. Now I want to increase my screen by pressing down on Z and scale up like this. I want to separate the face from the neck and the body, and hit on P again to have my pen tool. And in case you're going to be using the pen tool, make sure you select parts and not shape. And once you have the part selected, you want to make the selection starting from here. I will just go ahead and fast forward this session because it's going to take some time. And like I said, if you don't know how to use the pen tool, you can just go ahead and use the lasso tool. At the end of the day, you're still going to get the same results. Okay, and once you make it to this point, I want to press Ctrl+1 to zoom out, and this place you want to make this selection just like this. Make the rough selection around the model just like this and close it. And now you want to right click and come over to make selection and hit on OK. You're going to have your selection like this. What you can possibly do is to press on L to have the lasso tool. In this way, we can go ahead and mask it out just like this. Once you mask out, you're going to be left body and not the head. In this case, you want to come back to the layer mask. Make sure you select the layer mask and hit on Ctrl+I to invert the selection. You're going to come up with something like this. And now I want to double click on the layer mask to have the properties. I just want to refine the edges a little bit. In this case, I'm going to be using the smart radius and make it to be somewhere here. Something like this is going to be okay, and I'll just go ahead and hit on the OK button. Now I like the edges more than before. What I can do is to hit on V to have the move tool, and again I want to make my selection to be smart object. And right now I want to go ahead and increase the size of my model. I hold it down the shift key just like this. When I hit on OK, and make it to be at the center of our canvas just like this, something like this, very okay. And what we can possibly do is to come back to the adjustment layer. In this case, we want to desaturate our model and we want to use black and white adjustment. You're going to come up with something like this, and you want to hold down your control key and select both the adjustment layer and the main model in question, and right click and come back to where it says merge layer. We want it to be in a single layer. I want to go ahead and rename it to be man 5, or you can just save yours to be 5. It's just a way of being organized. And the next thing we want to do right now is to select the man, go ahead and create a new layer, and in this case we are going to be using the brush tool. Hit on B from your keyboard to have the brush tool, and decrease the size by holding down the Alt and right click and drag to left just like this. And I can still reduce the size a little bit to something of this nature. Ctrl+0 to have the full screen, and again reduce my brush size to this point. And I want to select a vibrant color. In this case I can use yellow or even green. Something like this is going to be okay. We just want to draw the outlines. There's no rules to doing this. This is going to be the first, and we are going to draw 4 lines, and this is going to be the last line. It's going to be somewhere here, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 slices. If you have it like this, you want to go ahead and select the pen tool by hitting on P from your keyboard. Make sure you select the man, and once you have your pen tool like this, we want to start on top. Okay, click once and then click again and drag it to make sure you fill the lines that you draw. And if you see that you're having difficulty in filling the line, you can hit on Ctrl Z, hit once, hit again somewhere here, press your Alt to be in the same line, and then hit again to still be on the same line like this. Hit on Alt and close the line to something like this. You just want to make a rough sketch around the other part. Okay, the most important part is when you cut in through the head. Something like this is going to be okay. And I want to go ahead and right click and come back to make selection, hit on OK. Like I said, make sure the man layer is being selected, and right now you want to hit on L and right click and come back to layer via cut. You're going to have the man here, and I want to go ahead and rename the layer just to be organized, man 1, and I will hide the layer just to be in line. You can do yours the way you like. I don't want to be seeing the parts that I have cut already. Hit on P again, go back to the second section just as we did before, and once you are the last part, you can just make a rough selection around the head just like this. Okay, just as we did before, right click, make selection, hit on OK, press L, right click, and come back to layer via copy. I'm going to rename this to be man 2, and then go ahead and hide the layer. Select the main layer in question again and hit on P from your keyboard and start from this point again. And once you are at this point, you can always make a rough sketch around the other part. Okay, just like this. Okay, just as we did before, right click, make selection, hit on OK, hit on L to have the lasso tool, and right click again and come over to layer via copy. In this case, I'm still going to go ahead and rename it to be man 4, and this is going to be the man 5. Hide the layer of man 4, we're going to have it like this, and this is the 5th one. Right now, this layer that we use as a reference, we are not going to need it again, and I will just go ahead and remove it. Now I can go ahead and bring in all of my cut off layers just like this. You're going to have all of it like this, and you're going to see this standing line which indicates that there is a cutoff. If you are seeing 2 lines, it means your work is not correct. And I'm going to go ahead and hit on V to have this move tool and just drag them up like this. This time around, we just need to create some spaces, okay, to something like this. But don't worry, we are going to rearrange it again to come up with the main design. But right now, we just need some spaces and do something like this, okay, this one as well, and this one as well. Okay. Once you have everything like this, the next thing you want to do is to group each and every layer to its own group. What I mean is this first layer right here, you want to go ahead and hit on Ctrl plus G. You want to group that layer to its own group. Come back to the layer 2 again, Ctrl plus G, layer 3, Ctrl plus G, layer 4, Ctrl plus G, and the last layer, layer 5, Ctrl plus G. We want each and every layer to be on its own group. In that way, everything is going to be organized and it's going to help us to see what we're doing. Now that they are in their own layer, we want to start with the second layer and not the first. The second layer right here, we want to click on the layer, and this is the main man. Hit on the pen tool again, and this time around, make sure you change it from part to shape. We don't need the part again, we just need shape. And what we can possibly do is to go ahead and bring in any color of reference that's going to guide us in selecting colors. I'm going to have this like this and just hit on OK just to have my color reference, and make sure you selecting the man. And this time around, I want to start with the layer 2, which is going to be this one right here. Selecting my pen tool, and we can basically select color. If you want to select color, hit on this color right here on the fill and come over to this color picker, and we can choose this first one right here and hit on OK. Once you select it like this, you want to start from the first point, hit on this part, hit on the last part, and don't let it go. Drag it to make it curve to your liking. Make it like this. Once you have it like this, I can just go ahead and hit on Alt just to continue on the straight line, and I want to click and drag again to like this. Hit on Alt, click and drag again to something like this, and there is a space here. I want to add an anchor point like this, and hold down the control just to fill in this space right here, just like this. And as well, hold down control, fill in this space. And once you have it like this, you want to go ahead to the second group. In this case, it's going to be the group 3, and open the group and select the main man in question. It's going to be the man. If you're not seeing the control lines, you can just hit on your V to see what you're selecting. Okay, hit on P again. Firstly, as we did before, we want to select our color. In this case, we are going to be selecting this blue right here, and come back to the color picker and select this light blue, this cyanish blue, and hit on OK. Make a point here and the other point here. Don't let it go. Drag it until you have the curve that you like to something of this nature. Hit on Alt to continue with the parts, and come back to this part and drag it again. Control, and right now I can come back to this part. There is a little curve here. Okay, and hit on Alt and close the part just like this. And right now we can go ahead again to the other group, which in this case is going to be the group 4. Open the group 4 and select the main layer. Hit on P to add the pen tool, and firstly always change the color, over to the color picker. This time around I want to go ahead and select the purple just like this and hit on OK. And now make a point here and the other point here. Don't let it go. Drag it to make that curve line like this. Hit on Alt to continue with the paths and come back to this little curve right here. Don't let it go until it covers the line the way you need it, like this. Hit on Alt again and cover this line as well. Hit on Alt to continue with the path and then close the parts just like this. Okay, we have something like this. And now we want to go over to the last layer, which is going to be the fifth layer. And you can see here there is this little line that curve like this and come over like this. In case if you don't need that type of line, the only way you can do it is when you're here, you're making the selection. Let me select the fourth again. When you're here, what you can possibly do is to make a straight line. Start making point here. You can just make a straight line like this. Firstly, hit on Alt to continue with the path and then make a straight line to cover everything. That way you're not going to be having that curve to something like this. Hit on your control, close this part right here, something like this. I'm just trying to show you both ways in case you might not like to have the curve line. Okay, and now let's select fifth layer, which happens to be this one right here, and always selecting your pen tool. And now I want to go ahead and select red. Let's come back to the view and come back to the color picker and select this pink/red right here. It's pink. And you hit on OK, and just as we did before, make a point here, another point here, and make it curve. And you can just close the line right here to have this type of effect, or you can just make like 2 points to have this type of curvy effect. In any way you're going to get it right. Hold down your Alt and hit on this right here to continue with the path that you desire. Make a curved line like this, and to close the line, still hit on Alt to continue with the direction and close the line. You're going to have your line like this. If you feel that your part, your shape is too big, you can even resize it and decrease the size as well. Okay, or you can just go ahead and delete the shape by deleting the layer and redo everything again. You can make many mistakes and you can always edit your mistake. Let me select the pen tool again. My color should always be pink. Hit on this first point right here and the other point, drag it to make the curved line to this point. Hold down the Alt, hit on this line to continue with the path, and now close the part again to stretch it out to this point. Okay, we're gonna have it like this. What we can possibly do right now is to make arrangement of our design. This one right here, we don't need it again. I can just go ahead and remove that. There's no rules in doing this. You can just follow your guidance, follow what you feel is good in your eye. Okay, I will just rotate this one like this and make it fit somewhere here, and maybe give it some space to breathe. Okay, or to something of this nature. Hit on the good sign. And this one as well, if you move it hello, this shape right here is going to be out of line. And what you can do is to hold down your control key and select both the layer and the shape together. That way you can move it to anywhere and anyhow you need it, to something maybe like this. And I can as well go ahead and make a rotation like this. And the same thing is going to happen to this layer right here. Select the man, hold down your control and select the shape as well. In this case, you can move it around to something like this. And this last one as well, select the main layer, hold down your control and select the shape. In this way, you can still drag it to this point. And this one right here, I'll just go ahead and make some rotation, have it to something like this. There is no rules in doing this. Just follow your guidance and follow the way you would like it. Okay, it's going to be something of this nature. You can even press Ctrl+1 to zoom out of your work to see how it looks. And now what we need to do next is to go ahead and make a shadow in all of our cuts. And we're going to start with the fifth. This is going to be the fifth one, and after the shape you want to go ahead and create a new layer just like this. By holding down your Alt in between the shape and the layer that you just created, you're going to see this arrow pointing down. Click on it. It's going to be clipped to this shadow that we just created, and once it's clipped like this, you want to hit on B to have your brush tool and increase the size to this point. Ctrl+0 to see it well. And right now we want to select black as our foreground color and decrease the opacity to be like 30 something and the flow as well to be like 35. Right now I can just go ahead and make some shadow here to something of this nature is okay. And again, hit on view to select this other one right here, the fourth one. And after the shape, create a new layer and hit on view to have the brush tool, like as we did before, clipped this layer to the shape. And now want to color over here, want to add some shadow, so something like this of this nature. Okay, and the same thing, hit on view, select this one right here. After the shape, create a new layer, clip the layer to the shape and hit on B again and make some shadow over here. And since there is this part right here, we can just make here dark and here to be light and darken this part. Okay, it's going to be something like this. Hit on V again, select this one. This is going to be the second one. After the shape, create a new layer, hit on B from your keyboard and the layer we just created, clip it to the shape and make some shadow here. And since there is this head here, we need to have a little bit of its shadow. For that, I'll go ahead again on the main layer, still on B just once. And same thing is going to happen to this one right here on the clips layer, always on B. Something of this nature is perfectly fine, and what we can possibly do again is to hit Ctrl+1 and come over to the very first layer, create a new group again. We want to make our opacity to be 100 and the flow as well to be 100. But before then, it's like our design is not aligned. What we can do is to first close the whole group like this. Okay, hold down your shift key and select the first group and select the last group. In this way, press on V to have the move tool. In this way, we can move everything simultaneously so that we don't destroy our design. To something of this nature. Okay, and once you let it go, it will deselect everything. And now on the new layer that we were about to create, we need to go ahead and create a new layer. Select your brush tool, the opacity and the flow should be 100. Increase the size of your brush and just click once. Take your move tool and squash it down just to something like this. Okay, so like this. And what we can do is to come back to the layer and come back to filter and select blue and come back to geisha blue. Something like this is already okay, and I can just go ahead and hit on okay. And now we need to select the first layer and hit on Ctrl Shift Alt or Option and press E from your keyboard to have everything we created on the single layer, and right click on this single layer and convert it to smart object. Right now, come back to filter and come back to camera raw. This is going to give us beauty of our design. Toggle this, and I'm going to start with the exposure a little bit like this. The contrast, I'm going to increase the contrast and increase the highlights, decrease the shadow, leave the white and make the black to be negative as well, something like this. Come back to the color. Here you can potentially give your design a different color if you wish to, irrespective of the background that you choose. You can try to make it to be more hot, more yellow, to like this, of this nature, and at the same time you can add some gray or some tint color like this. In this way, let's assume we are going with the green. See, it has already changed from this gray color to this one right here. Increase the vibrance a little, and right now come back to the effects. Firstly, I want to increase the texture, increase the clarity, and the haze should be something of this nature, and the vignette is already too much. I will just go ahead and remove some of the vignettes to something of this nature. I don't need the curve. Let's come back to the color mixer. This is going to make our color to pop up. Firstly, I want to go over with the orange slash the yellow, increase the hue and the saturation. This time around we are touching only this yellow and not other parts, and the saturation, make it luminous, make it more luminous. And we want to select the aqua and increase the hue. I just want the color to pop and make it more luminous. And now let's select the purple, increase the hue, increase the saturation and as well the luminance. And now let's come back to the pink. Select the pink color. I want to increase the hue, the saturation and the luminance as well. This is the before and this is the after. The last thing I can possibly do is to come out to the details and increase the sharpness of this nature, and go ahead and hit on OK. Wow, this is what we just created. If you zoom out, you're going to find the design like this. On my own, this is what I created with different color, and this was the first one that I created. You see, you can always give them different shape and different color. This is what we created for this video, and this is what I created on my own, and this was the very first one that I made. You can always give it any design of your choice. And I would like to know at the comment section which of the design is your preferred method. Is it the first, second, or this one that we just created for this video? I hope you learned something from this video, and if you do, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that whenever I upload another video just like this, you will always be the first person to be notified. And having said this, I'm going to see you in the next video. Cheers, peace out.